Alright. Hope y'all are doing good today. Hopefully, you guys have been enjoying your week. We're already at the middle of the week. If you have seen the picture that I have on my channel, that is a little screenshot of Division 2 and 3. Yeah, I'm excited for Division 3 that is on the way. They have that in full development as of right now. So that's something to be excited for. I know I'm looking forward to it, given that I'm a huge Division 2 nut. That is another game that I've also played myself. And at one time I have sunk hundreds and hundreds of hours into that. So if you were to see my agent on there, you could see the time that I had sunk into that game. Now, I also want to touch on something here. I've been doing this since 2022 with this channel. Now, I haven't done it full time like a lot of people might think I have. Off and on since 2022, I've been doing this. I started going into this full time recently due to injury on the job. But basically, these are just a few things that I are really looking at, and these are just a few things of my opinions of what I think that should be a huge focus aside from the hardware that is coming up. That I think quality, like everyone says, quality should be a big thing. Because when you think about how much these games that come out, how some of them bomb, and some of them don't always turn out as successful. Because when they have the issues and then the developers have to go back and fix things or release patches for the games, sometimes that costs the developer, and it costs them time and investment. So I think that should be a huge focus. Marketing is another thing. Now, I don't know much about Asher Sharma. I have seen a little bit of Meta and what has been done with Meta. So honestly, I think that we can have things turn out well, but that depends on how they handle it, and which way they decide to take this. But I really do believe, as a gamer of almost 40 years, that I don't believe in anything not being a possibility or impossible, because everything can be possible as long as you have people that are willing to do that. But on the other side of the coin, you got these billionaires that are in charge of these companies, alright? And they're going to have an agenda of their own. They're going to decide what to do because the power is in their hands. Power is not in ours. But the thing of it is, here's where we have power as gamers, okay? We have power as gamers to demand, or not so much to demand, but to step up and say, hey, we want quality games, or we're not going to crack open our wallets until you show us that you can make these games at quality and not so much quantity. Because look how much that they've struggled through a period where they couldn't get consoles out to everybody when Xbox Series X and S first came out. Look at when PlayStation 5 first came out, even the Pro. Look at how when those released that there were shortages and how it was so hard for them to get systems out to people. And then you had scalpers that also were selling systems. And we had to struggle for a period of time before people could get their hands on systems. Some people got their hands on it late, joined the party late, started gaming late. I know off and on, besides my busy life and besides, my busy schedule, being a family man and all, taking care of a 16-year-old, running my home and, doing everything I do, when I started being able to find an opening to game and to just get on my Xbox more, I took advantage of that, dude. I took advantage of, that time. And I was starting to get into gaming myself. I was getting back into like a gamer routine of getting on my Xbox and putting in time and getting achievements and doing that. So I was getting myself into a thing like that. Now I'm grateful I made my investments when I did. Because if I didn't make my investments when I did, knowing that this newer hardware now is going to be as expensive as it's going to be now that we see, I'm glad I invested for the Xbox Series X and S. So that way I would be prepared. But it's like I've told everybody, that with these price tags and even games being expensive, it's like anything. It's like any product you buy out there. You want to invest, but you don't want to invest in something that is not the best quality it could be. Because who wants to pay for a product that is not being brought to you in the best quality and the best shape it could be? I know I don't want to pay for something unless you're giving me the best product you could possibly bring me. And if you're going to charge me like $100 or more, well, that product at least needs to be what you're saying. Because the thing of it is, it's easier to say it than it is to live up to it. Talk is talk, but you can't guarantee that your products are going to be as you say. Because you can't say your products will be perfect. Because there's no such thing as perfection. See, the thing of it is, in my life, I've always taught myself, there's no such thing as perfection. You can strive to do your best, but if you keep trying to live up to this thing of perfection, you're going to kick yourself in your head so much that it's going to drive you nuts. Because you're going to have times where your things will be having an issue in something, because there's no such thing as perfect. You can achieve something great as long as you put your mind to it, work hard with it, just, and I think way before this hardware comes out, I think that they should be doing tests along the way. Do tests on your software. Do tests on your games. Test your games. Test your software over the next 2 years. Put games to the test. Iron out details. I am waiting to see what Asha Sharma is going to do. Personally, I believe that she will hit these studios with the hard-asked questions that no one else did. Because if you don't get to the root of what is going on, then you're not going to be as successful as you want to be. See, being successful and making a good product goes hand in hand. Because you have to get to the root of what causes a game to become faulty. You have to get to the root of what's making that game turn out to a point where nobody wants to pick up a controller to play it. You have to ask yourself, why is my game to a point that nobody wants to sit and put hours and hours into it, but yet they'll sit and put hours and hours into a AAA title instead of the game that I made? What's so bad about what I'm making compared to someone else that's got this AAA game out there and this person's playing it for like over 12 hours? I mean, it's easy and it's right in front of you. The game that you're competing against, or even if it's not a competition, but the game that is made by your other company, they figured out a formula to make their game to a point that it runs and does not act up. Because they have learned a way to make it to where it's not going to give them an issue. Because they found out the core issue of what was going wrong. Because they took the time to look it over. They took the time to go over everything with a fine-tooth comb and look for all the issues, the bugs, and everything that was causing it to malfunction. When you take the time to figure it out, that's the way to get your best product. And if you look at marketing like this, if you do short marketing, you're going to be lucky if people are going to know about your game. If they're going to know about it being out there. Because the thing of it is, you want to sell your products, but if they're not out there long enough and advertised well enough, you're going to be lucky if you're selling anything. That's why Wendy's can sell a hamburger to somebody, because they keep commercials out there long enough. Same goes for Burger King, Texas Roadhouse, Longhorn Steakhouse. All these restaurants have seen the formula that works, and they go with it, and they keep it up. It's marketing that they do not stop, because they know people will see it and will invest in their business. So, The thing of it is, you want to bring consumers, you have to make sure that you give the consumer a chance to come to your product in order for your product to grow. That's the way that your games are going to get sold, your hardware is going to get sold, your interest is going to grow, your games are going to get popular, because you're leaving them out there long enough for the consumer to have an opportunity to know about them and to know that they're there. Now, these are just a couple of things of what I see. Because I remember back to the OG Xbox days that they used to market the heck out of Xbox back then. And that was the original Xbox. That they would market it so much. And that's why they sold so many of them. Even as they went from that to the other Xboxes, they sold a lot because they had the formula and they knew what it took. And they kept it up until a certain point, and then they started to shorten things because they didn't want to spend the money. But you know what they always say, and I hear this so much. I mean, I've even heard this in movies too. In order to make money, you have to spend money. How many times has anyone ever heard that sentence in their lives? In order to make money, you have to spend money. So you have to be willing to spend a portion of your money in order to make money back. So the thing of it is, if you want a return on investment, you have to be willing to make that budget just a tad bit more and invest a little bit more out there for the growth. So, but these are just a few points that I have had on my mind, that I have been tossing around. Now, I'm going to tell you the truth, just work with me here, as I'm doing this through YouTube. I'm new to all this, and over time I'm learning, figuring it out. But I do appreciate the support. I appreciate all of you that comes to this channel, all the videos you check out that I put up. I appreciate all the help and support. And the continued support that you guys do give is greatly appreciated. Because every little bit of what you guys do, and it's not even having to be in a big way, just a little bit of a way is going to help. Because eventually, my plan is for all of us, for this channel, eventually is to get better hardware, better camera, better ways for me to record my videos, my gaming footage. But in order to do all that, I'll just need help from my viewers. You guys helping me out. Everything will go toward the channel. We can build this. But I'm excited, for 2026 and all that as we go forward. I mean, you got Wolverine that's coming, Grand Theft Auto 6, you got Forza Horizon 6 is on the way. You got so many. You got so many games that you're going to be able to choose from as time goes by that you're going to be able to enjoy. It seems like that now somewhat that Xbox is understanding it, but I still think that they need to make changes, especially marketing. And I think that the biggest thing is going around to these studios and finding out within the studios why certain games ain't selling, figuring out why certain games are just not operating or working right to where people don't want to buy them. Figure out that. And I think that once that is figured out, I think that you can start being successful in that way, shape, or form. But what you have to do is you have to figure out what is dragging you down and figure out what is the hugest cause. I still believe in Xbox. I still believe in the company itself. What I don't believe in is games that are turning out crappy that don't even have to. Games that turn out in a terrible condition that don't even have to. I just think sometimes in this world it's easy to get lazy and complacent because we have so much technology right at our fingertips. But the billionaires, of course, what do? They think about, profit. Not the quality. Because it's not on them if a game doesn't turn out well for them, because in the end they're still going to put that game out there. But, they act as though it's not really a loss for them, but yet you have to cut your studio if it doesn't work. You have to end up getting rid of a studio if, after a while, that the games don't change and get better. Because what are you going to end up having to do in the long run? If you have a studio and they constantly are pumping out games and there's issues with them. You're going to have to go to that studio and look at them and say right to them, hey, what's going on here? As a studio, how come you're making these games and nobody's wanting to buy them? What is going on here? So, now personally, also too, people tend to criticize Game Pass and the fact that Game Pass is around. Now, truthfully, with Game Pass being around, this is the way that I look at Game Pass. Alright? I look at Game Pass like this. Game Pass kind of reminds me of the way that but Blockbuster Video. Alright? If you guys remember Blockbuster and how you used to go in there and be able to rent games. Alright? That's kind of what Game Pass is like. Because it gives you the option to get a game, install it, and you get to try it out before you get the idea if you want to buy it or not. I think that is great for people that cannot afford the major expensive price of a game. That gives a player an option. players like me that don't have major expendable incomes, it makes it easier for players like me. So I think that's a great service to have. But what I don't like is how much they mess around with it. Because then they raise and lower, raise and lower, or change up the tier system and stuff with it. It just drives me crazy when they do that. Because I believe that if a system is not messed up and there's nothing wrong with it, why mess with a system that is in place, it's working well, and there's no issues with it whatsoever? Don't mess with something that is perfectly fine and there's no issues with it at all. Because what you're doing is, when you do that, you're just messing with something that is fine, and you're going to ruin something good. So, not only that, I seen too that Rockstar had considered Midnight Club. Now, right now, as far as Midnight Club, that game, at the moment, as far as that one, it's just pure speculation. And the thing of it is, Rockstar does that, like, with the pure speculation stuff, and I don't really believe in that at the moment. Because when you think about it, the biggest iron in the fire at the moment that Rockstar has on their plate is GTA 6. I don't see them taking on any other projects until GTA 6 drops. So that's the way I look at it. And I hate to kind of dog on Take-Two. But in a way, I'm disappointed in Take-Two. Because personally, Take-Two Interactive, the wrestling games that I have played, now I've only played up to like 2025, 2K25, as far as the wrestling game is concerned. And the only thing that kind of makes me sad about that is the way that the universe is. Like, when you have the wrestler go out there and talk and all that for their cutscene, there's no voice work, for their usual stuff. But yet you have voice work whenever you create a wrestler. And when those wrestlers cut their promos, alright, it's the thing of when they're cutting a promo like that, it's what it's about. Because that's what draws the excitement, aside from two dudes standing across from each other, getting ready to beat the living daylights out of one another. The voice work for their promos are also just as fun, because it's a way they psych up their audience before the match. So that's where that was disappointing. It would have been cool to have that even from the athletes, not just from a created superstar, but also from the wrestlers themselves. And I get that there's this whole thing against, like, blood and gore and the whole, like, rated R thing, and how they don't want to make games that are too creepy or scary, um, because a kid's getting a hold of them. But here's another thing that personally that I believe that we can do as parents, and me being a father myself, that we have the control of what our kids consume. We have the control of what they decide to actually play and what they decide that they're going to get into. Like, for instance, my son, okay, he is a major Fortnite nut. Now, mind you, he's 16 years old, so he's a 16-year-old autistic teenager, but what's hilarious about this is every time that I tell him, okay, kid, gotta take care of yourself, gotta clean yourself up, yada yada, all the normal things. He's like, I don't want to step away from Fortnite. I'm like, dude, you can always resume your game. You can always get back at it whenever you're done. I always tell him the game is not going in. So, but it's crazy how today that how much gaming doesn't just attract us middle-aged gamer guys, but how it also is for these kids. And then there's games that us middle-aged gamer guys grew up with that these kids would not know what they are. But it's awesome because we bond with our children because we played games. So that's what I love about being a father, is I get to share that bonding experience with my kid. We get to talk video games as a son, or as a father and son. Because it's what we bond over. See, video games are such a wonderful thing to have, around. And I'm looking to many more years and memories that I could make as a gamer, but as also a full-time YouTuber. Because I love doing this. I love talking about this. Discussing the cool games, the graphics, the awesome things that make gaming what it is. Talking about how awesome the creation process of this is. Discussing how more and more games are getting created, even our favorite ones. Our most favorite ones that we have to have, like a soda here and some snacks on our stand to have us ready to go. We got our headsets and all that, and we're all ready to go. We're all jazzed up and like, yeah, let's go. We're gonna go kick some butt. Like, that's what makes us gamers, and why we have to make sure that we stand up and do this as gamers and make sure that this hobby is always going to be around. Because we want it to be, because it's something that we have a desire for as gamers. It's something that runs through us. Because it's so awesome that the stories that go through these games, not just the stories, but memories that have been shared of when we look back and think about how many times we've had fun with friends and family, of bonding over this, bonding over this hobby. having this entertainment that we've talked about. Yeah, and the fact that I have this community right here that I have with all of you, that I have now been able to be outside myself and put myself in a community where I could talk about video games and not be nervous about it. And because there's not too many people I can sit and discuss video games with. There's not too many people I've been able to sit and talk with that understand video games like you. You know? And sometimes that's hard to find. You know? But I am looking forward to everything that happens over the next, 2 years. Or even 3 years. Count this year, 3 years. Over the next 3 years as we evolve even further into gaming. But not just any game. A gaming full of quality games. A gaming that we hope is going to be more improved. A gaming that is going to be more of a shock value. Gaming that just keeps us more passionate, with more desire, more grit, and has us stand up as a community and always protect this hobby. And always be sensible about what to look for. When we invest in our games for our consoles, invest in games for our family, our young ones and stuff like that we look after. But most of all, the time that we enjoy gaming. Most of all, enjoying the time that we have as we game. But always remember, too, life is not all about games. Life can also be taking time for family, for loved ones. So, enjoy life as well. Be grateful that not just having this hobby, but having loved ones. People that support you and that have supported you. Most of all, be grateful for that. Because I'll be honest, I've had a tough time. I've had a rough time. I can't say I've had a lot of people that have supported me, during this. I've maybe had a small sum that I've been able to trust. But the thing of it is, it's never stopped me from having a desire and a passion and a heart for this. Gaming for me has just been something that I feel like I'm never going to lose a desire for. That I'm never going to lose a passion for. So it's not something that I feel like I'm never, that I could ever see go anywhere, truthfully. So I'm looking forward to games that will come out, more games that will be announced. I'm not really into racing games, but it's awesome to see that they are bringing out games that are in the racing genre, if that's something you're into. That's awesome. it's cool to see that happening. It's really awesome to see how they're bringing out games that basically are a fit for everyone. So but give me your thoughts and opinions. You know, I don't mind people coming in here and chatting with me. I can do a little Q&A as well. I'm just trying to think if there's anything else that I wanted to discuss. But this newer Xbox that basically is on its way, it is really looking awesome. The design, it's alright. Yeah, it looks like a marble design kind of. The chipset in it looks totally awesome. But like I said, it's easy to have an impressive shell. It's easy to have an impressive processor and chip and everything, spec-wise. But it's a software. Is the software ready? Is the games that they're claiming are going to come out for this or are ready? Like, do they really have these games in shape for this, like, advanced hardware? Because if you see when it came to the Series X and S, that the games had issues, that only certain ones would play at the frame rate and refresh rate for the Xbox Series X and S. Because not all the games would play to the specs that the systems were. And you had certain games that basically had to be played at low refresh rates and low FPS rates. They had to be played at lower tones in order to look good. So that's my question. Is it going to really be ready and all that in 2 years? Are the games really going to be prepared for this? Because it's going to be a huge technological leap, which I think that's why they should be testing little by little leading up to this, just to ensure that by the time this releases and by the time this gets out there, that they know that it'll be ready. It doesn't hurt to make benchmark tests to ensure it. It doesn't hurt just to consider stuff like that. Because it's easier to promise somebody something and say to them that you're going to release this, you're going to put games on this that you say are going to work, but then what if they don't? That's the thing. Because you see these games as a service that have had internet issues, have had problems. And a portion of them you've had to just entirely stop making, which kind of gives me a little bit of a nervous feel. Because if you've had to just stop game production on certain games, how are you going to know that, games are ready for this? You have to make sure that your games will be ready. Because if you're putting a high grade chip, and I'm saying higher than Xbox Series X and S were, and you are having issues with games already that, these games that you've had trouble with, what's to say that these other games would not end up in that state of having issues and not running well? Because you can't guarantee that it won't do that. You can't make a promise and say, hey, these games are going to run to perfection on our brand new console, and then 2 years' time, people start playing the games and something happens. I'm just saying, you should test it just as a theory, just to make sure, But that's just me. That's just my thought. But I think the biggest thing is marketing. They need to up their marketing. They need to increase the budget to put a little more time into their marketing when they go to market their things. People wonder why Sony is so popular. You know why? Because Sony is not afraid to market. They are not scared to market. They market their stuff. I've seen more commercials for Sony games and Sony things out there. Even Nintendo is not even afraid to put marketing out there for long periods of time. And people wonder why their stuff sells. It's because they will put their stuff out there for a long period of time and give it a chance for the consumer to know. Same as we're saying. Sony will advertise long enough for people to know that their games are there. And you have to. Because if you don't, the consumer won't even know about it. Because how's the other way for a person to find out? Word of mouth. By a friend, a family member, a co-worker. Because that's the only other way a person's going to find out about something out there, especially if the game developer doesn't want to say nothing or doesn't advertise long enough. So I could say it's been an interesting year so far. Because it's like between Sony, Xbox, and Nintendo, games have stacked up. More releases every day that I've seen. There's always an announcement every day about Asha Sharma doing stuff, so it's nice to see moves are being made. Every day I consider hoping that more positive moves are being made within that. But I don't think we're going to see much within this year because of the fact that she's only taken the position for a short time now. And usually, like they always say, it takes a portion of time for someone that just recently took a position, that it takes time. Changes take time. So, but always remember, we have a voice that we can use. We're not the voiceless in the game sector. We are not people that should hold back. You know, I used to be a guy that would sit, hold back, not care. Well, guess what? I'm here, sitting in my seat, telling all you gamers that we have a voice. Because the thing of it is, as consumers, as gamers, and as people, that us gamers, that the games we love, the software we enjoy every day, let's continue to enjoy it, and let's continue to stand for it. Because the thing of it is, it can only get better the more that we make sure that we defend the product that we love. You know, the brand that we enjoy being a part of, and the communities that we enjoy being a part of with this hobby that we have. Yeah, just as much as we enjoy a good plate of food, a good TV show, a good band, good music, as much as we may have other talents, you know, and other things we do in life, always lift each other up. Don't try to tear each other down. Share your interest with each other. Start conversations over games, and you would be surprised how many people you could meet and friends you can make that have similar interest from you. You'd be surprised about how many people that might be like-minded like you, that have passion about video games, likes, dislikes, maybe even the same genre of games, you know, that you're into. Whether it's multiplayer, single player, it doesn't matter. Yeah, you would be surprised. I know I've been surprised because I've met a lot of different people doing this. But one of those people that I'm not going to forget, and he is a subscriber to my show, the Mag Show. This man, that no matter how many times I wanted to give up alongside my girl, mind you, this man would not let me stop. This man told me that it was not going to be easy. It was going to be difficult. That I was going to face judgment. That I was going to face some harshness from people. I mean, it was going to feel like I was getting spit on, insulted, dragged through the mud. But you know what? You guys can do that. You know, you guys can come on here if you guys want to do that, you know, to me. Remember, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. Because I'm an individual that has been through more things than you probably can even conceive. That I've been through a lot, and I've come out on the winning end of it all. I've proved a bunch of people wrong. As an autistic adult with a lot of mental health issues, an individual who played gaming to fix a lazy eye, an individual that basically was bullied his whole darn life. I'll tell you what, when you grow up like that, and you go through so much like that, you start to think about how much you value life, and knowing that if you're able to make it through things like that, you can make it through anything. And I said to myself, I'm like, when I started this channel, I said to myself, I'm like, this is my one shot. And when I got hurt, I'm like, okay, I'm going to go on this channel. I'm going to give it my one shot. I'm going to go out there and I'm going to try my best. And I did it. And that's why I'm right here right now, discussing gaming, discussing what I like, what I don't like. I get to share it with all of you, which is, an even better thing. Because I get to have a community behind me as I share what I love the most about gaming and the greatest things that gaming has brought me. And believe me, gaming has brought me a lot of wonderful things. Friendships. It's brought me through hard times. Gaming has made me feel good. It has brought me through worlds that are so awesome because I've gotten to experience these fantasy written worlds. And it's like I've gotten to experience what the creators have done through these games. And it's really awesome because you truthfully connect to these characters that have been written by these people. And it really makes you think like, wow. Because it shows you what an actual human game developer is capable of. It shows you what a human can do when they use their emotions and they put that time like that into a game. I mean, you can't get that from an AI because artificial intelligence, don't get me wrong, artificial intelligence, there's not the feeling like that a person has. And it's a different connection with AI that you're not getting like with a person that's on the other end writing that. That's what makes it a difference when a person creates a game, when a person writes a story. It's the same as you get your favorite book by your favorite author, your favorite writer, and you're sitting there, or you're laying down on your bed, you're reading the book, you're reading the story from your favorite show. And when you're doing that, you're getting into this story that this person wrote, word for word, the passion, the desire, the time this person took to write this story, and you connect to every bit of the written words that this person took to write this. And it's like it just pulls you into that. Now, can you get that from artificial intelligence? Hell no. Can you get that from a computer? No. I mean, yeah, you could go on a computer, you could read an article, you could go on there and look something up, you can go on and search for stuff, or use a computer for a video conference, and a computer for ordering something on the internet or online, but you will not get that from a story that is written by a person. That's what I'm trying to that's what I'm trying to get across when it comes to the difference between what people who have degrees in graphic design and the difference between a computer. Like I've said many times before. So I don't think these games that we play every day need a computer to make them. I just think what it is I think that as these games are getting made, I just think that maybe a little more attention and making sure as they're getting created that you iron out as many bugs as possible and pay attention for the little things as they're being created. You know, pay attention to the little things, the little hiccups or issues you might have, problems if it's having trouble connecting the servers, little glitches in character work, or something's not right, and pay attention to the little glitching out details, just the little things that doesn't make the game right. If you pay attention to little details like that, you can make such a great game if you fix that stuff before launch day. Just little things that always get looked over. Because if you look over those things, that's how these games are turning out. Not as quality, but turning out to be bad. Because, it's little minor details that later on turn into bigger problems that are costing studios development time, and it's basically costing deadline time. It's costing release time to get these games out because, you're in such a hurry to get a game released. But the thing of it is, when you are in such a rush like that, and then you release it, you wonder why people are coming back to you saying, hey, this is going on in the game, that's going on in the game. And the developer comes back to you and says, oh, well, this wasn't happening when we looked at it before, we tested it before. Well, the thing of it is, it might not have been happening, but the thing of it is, how do you know that that game-breaking bug wasn't there and you just overlooked it? You know, and how do you know that it didn't exist and it was just overlooked? Or another problem wasn't overlooked? See, everybody is upset because GTA 6 is taking a little more time. But here's the thing that's a little bit on the wiser side about that. Alright? Now this is, mind you, this is my opinion. This is my thought. Coming from me, this is my thought. The reason why Rockstar is waiting like they are, okay? They've seen what happened with GTA 5. Yeah, and they had to get it out the door. But I think this time, when it comes to GTA 6, they gave themselves a little more time for polishing, for looking for game-breaking bugs, and to look for things that could cause the game to malfunction or act wrong. So, I think that them waiting a little bit longer to launch this was a good idea. Because it's giving them the opportunity to go and make changes with the game before release date in November. Because they're going back, or they're ironing out details, they're giving themselves enough opportunity to do so, and they're going to make sure that every little detail is to where it is to their liking, and it is to where they know that they're going to have less complaints and that the game's going to run at the best optimal performance possible. Now, that's just my opinion. And they have to make sure, because they have investors that have invested big. And when you have investors that have invested big in a product, they're not just going to turn around and, go all crazy. They're going to make sure that this product is going to be top notch as promised. Knowing they have investors that are holding out and wanting to see it being to its best perfection, or I should say, to its top greatest. Because these investors that invested know what Rockstar does and how Rockstar works. So they want to make sure that, Rockstar lives up to their word. In my opinion, Rockstar has never let people down. I've never had too many issues with them. The only issue they've had is people that would go in and expose certain things like game-breaking bugs, like people would do with GTA 5. There were people that would go in online and do these things that would expose loopholes and stuff like that within the game. So I've seen people do that. I've been a part of heists before. But I don't think that's cool. Because when I've ever played a game I've always played a game legitimately. I've never done anything in a crooked way because I don't believe in that. I don't believe in that. I'm not for that. That's not me. If I'm going to sit in front of a game, I'm going to sit and I'm going to play it legitimately. Because, there's a reason why they call me Top Gamer Pro. I'm not a Top Gamer Pro for playing dirty. I play clean. That's the way I am. But yeah, all these games that are coming, all this excitement behind them, it's really cool, to see all this. It's cool that I have been living all these years to see all these changes, to see all these games that have these exciting graphics, and and some of the games I've seen that I'm into, it's like, it's amazing. That's all I can say. It blows me away. Um, I'm looking forward to more. You know, I mean, but basically, that's all I really have as far as like the gaming stuff. But behind the scenes on the channel, I've been working hard. I've been working on recording gaming footage for the channel. Every chance I get, of course, you see that. I did a new short today with Hitman 3 in the background. You guys can check that out on the channel, of course. So I'm trying my best as I learn a lot about YouTube and making this stuff. So, but I enjoy doing this. I enjoy talking about this stuff. You know, my health has been doing good, mental wise and physical wise. I just can't believe how sometimes I'll go on my Facebook and I'll be scrolling and I'll see like a bunch of different games every day, like new ones that just end up dropping out of nowhere, even when you least expect it. Like today, I'm not really seeing it, but
Dear child,
did anybody know about this? That may have played Division 2. Now the survival is out in DC. Now you can go and play survival in DC with snow now.
Your day doesn't.
So I guess that's already out, or it's been out now. I have yet to check it out. Yo, dude, check this out, guys. Look what's coming to PlayStation 5. Says right here, Mafia 5 is coming and it is about to be cinema. Crime fans, get ready. The Mafia saga isn't over yet. The next chapter is gearing up to deliver and be bigger, darker, and more cinematic experience than ever. Early reports suggest that the new game will push storytelling to the next level. Deeper characters make every mission feel like a blockbuster. After the massive success and strong eternal sales of Mafia: The Old Country, the developers have gained serious confidence to take the franchise even further. Expect a rich story, immersive world, powerful characters, and unforgettable crime moments that truly capture the rise of the new underworld empire. The streets will get louder, the family will get stronger, and the next crime legend is about to begin. PS5 players, prepare for the next Mafia masterpiece. PS5 gaming, next gen gaming, Mafia series game news. And it's also coming to PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, and Steam. So you heard it here, folks, that that is coming to PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, and Steam. Along with Far Cry 7. Far Cry is coming to Redfine the series. Ubisoft is preparing to reveal the next installment in legendary open world. Preparing to reveal the next installment in the legendary open world Far Cry 7, which promises a completely new experience compared to previous entries. According to a recent leaks, reports the game may introduce a story system based, recruiting the protagonist family with a limited time, adding tension and difficult choices through the gameplay. Rumors also suggest that the settling could be inspired by locations in the United States featuring chaotic world full of conflict. The game is expected to feature a large and more interactive world, a powerful new villain with strong charisma, like the iconic villains of the series, more realistic gameplay, and major improvements in graphic and AI.
Stay the same. So why does
Yeah, I usually play Ghost Recon Wildlands, but I play it on Xbox Series X. Yeah, to answer your question, I play it on Xbox Series X. I'm an Xbox gamer through and through. I've tried PC, But the PC I mainly run right now is I run it mainly for streaming at the moment, because it's not powerful enough for running gaming. So this pretty much that you're seeing here is basically my basic PC setup for streaming at the moment. But I do run, like I said, I do run my Xbox Series X for uh, my gaming, and I run this PC for basic streaming need when I go live like this. So that's interesting. Far Cry is coming. Mafia 5 is coming to PlayStation. It's going to be interesting. You know, that those games are coming and how they're launching those. It's like, it makes you think, like, seriously, all these games that are coming, it's already a stacked card for 2026. You know, I keep saying, I don't understand. Like, they should bump some of them to next year, in my opinion, because you already ran out of room this year. Because you already have, like, a good bit of AAA titles that are making their way in this year. Yeah, so. But I love it because there's an overpour of games this year. And there's going to be games for the long run to keep all of us interested and more games for us to play. And that's what the best part is, the choices they give us now. And all I will be happy to see is the improved quality as more games come out. And it looks like that's what they're doing. They're listening to the fact that we want quality, because now they're paying attention. They're actually standing up and listening to gamers as well as they should. It is awesome to hear, because now with these game titles, when you read the articles, they're now bringing more intense gameplay, more graphics to these games now. So that's exactly is what is going to make these games awesome. Yeah, because now you got these new systems that are, well, yeah, new systems coming. PlayStation 6 and the Xbox Helix. So it's awesome. Yeah, and it's awesome that I've been around this long to experience it. You know, that's what I enjoy the most. The fact that I have been around all this time to watch this, and to watch the ever evolving world of gaming and what it's gone through. Knowing that when I've gamed on such a basic setup to now an advanced setup is something. Because it's still, when I game, it still blows me away of how realistic things are compared to when I started my setup. So, yeah, it's really something. So, yeah, it's really kept me going, that's for sure. You know, making these videos and getting them out and running around doing stuff from my house and It's gonna be pretty busy, that's for sure. Trying to think if there's anything else that I can think of. But basically, those are just topics that I wanted to cover. This is pretty much now. You can feel free to ask questions. You can jump in, and we can just have a normal conversation here. If you want, we'll have a little Q&A here. I think I pretty much talked about everything that I needed to pretty much go on a rant about. Because I can't really come up with anything else that I could figure. Because right now, as it's going on, pretty much we are not really going to see a lot of action from Xbox until probably not until going into next year. Because right now it's over, it's basically sorting stuff out. It's figuring out the studios and what's going to be productive, and what's going to, she's going to be sorting things out, and basically just, they have to figure out, their game plan of how things are going to go. So I think that's where we're at as far as that. I don't see major decisions coming into play until they've organized and figured out what they're going to do as far as games for Xbox are concerned. But I'm just hoping for better quality to continue moving forward. I'm just looking for consideration as games get made, instead of looking things over. Maybe look at games, pay attention for little details that might be out of place in games, as they're getting made. And just, I would say test out technology, before Helix gets released, way before that occurs. Make sure that you are going to have your software set for when that happens in 2 years. But over time, this year is going to be their time to really sort all that out. So I think they'll have all that going on, and they'll be sorting all that out. I'm a little bit on the tired side today, so I'm going to hate to cut this short, but I think for today I'm going to, so that way I can rest up. But I figured I'd come on here and talk about a few things. If there's any more news that happens, or if I get a chance, I'll just do it live and we can come on and chat. But just remember that if you enjoy the content, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you want to. That helps out the channel. You can help this to grow. So that way in the future, I can do a lot more for this channel over time and grow it more. Hopefully in the long run I can get a better PC for this, but right now, at least I got things where I'm making everything work. It was nice to come on here and say a few things of what I had to say. Hopefully moving forward, the quality of games get better. Hopefully they take time to look over games, and not just rush them. Hopefully they make sure that when they polish games before releasing them, that's done a lot more, but a lot more in detail instead of just, wanting to push them out the door without that. And there's a future to gaming just getting better and better. So take care, y'all, and enjoy the rest of your week. And I will catch up to you again on a live, or if I end up posting a gaming video that I record by